you shut down and get really cold. And I get it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, actually, let's talk about this because I've even had to adjust my thinking on this. Like, I've had videos in the past where I say Conrad isn't good at communication. And looking back on some things, I don't necessarily think that's the case. Like, he can be, but it's actually really more that he just shuts down when something happens to him. When he's dealing with things that teenagers don't necessarily have the emotional capacity to deal with. I say that myself as someone whose dad died before I was even a teenager. Him not really communicating with Belly well that first because he had just found out that his mom's cancer was back, and he obviously knew it was bad because she wasn't telling anyone, and she wasn't going to tell anyone until the end of the summer, and he just didn't know how to fucking deal with that. Like, does he make mistakes? Yes, absolutely. I've even talked about mistakes I think he's made, but I think the point I'm trying to make here is that he can communicate well. He has shared his feelings with Belly. I think some people forget that he went to her and poured his fucking heart out, and he's the one who initiated contact with Jeremiah. Like, he and Jeremiah completely ignored the Belly subject before Conrad brought it up. But he shuts down when he gets depressed because he doesn't want to put his burdens on other people. He doesn't like to ask for help because it was pushed on him as a child that he was the oldest and that he should take care of the others. So he doesn't really feel like he has room to be upset. He feels like he has to grieve on his own time, in private. And yeah, he needs to learn that that's not a sustainable way to live. And, he does face the consequence of shutting down. Belly broke up with him. He now has to see her with his brother. It's shown that him shutting down is not a good thing. And he was starting to work on that until all the Belly and Jeremiah stuff happened. And now he's gonna start shutting down again. But I think the difference between Conrad and Jeremiah is that what Conrad lacks in his ability to communicate when things get tough for him, it's always shown that is something that he needs to work on. Bad things happen to him when he goes that route, when he does shut down. However, all of the not so good things Jeremiah has done, he has never faced consequences for those. And therefore, it's never shown to the audience that what he did was bad. Like, Jeremiah is just constantly getting away with shit. Constantly. And I just wonder if it was shown to the audience what he was actually doing, and if it was actually given a name, if it was called out by another character. I just wonder if that many people would actually be on Jeremiah's side or Team Jeremiah or whatever. Literally, the singular instance I can think of where he gets called out is when Belly says, "Don't use me," to get back at him. But even then, he still wasn't given a consequence. She's just mad at him for that second, and then the next morning, she's over it and acting like she's mad at what Conrad did when she had told Conrad the night before, she wished she had known what he had told Jeremiah, so she could have fought harder for the relationship. And I'm not even gonna lie, this makes me even more biased towards Conrad. I don't necessarily want to make excuses after excuses of everything Conrad does wrong, but it fucking sucks that he faces consequences for everything, as it actually should be. But Jeremiah could basically get away with fucking. And spoilers if you haven't read the books, the dude is gonna cheat and get engaged for it. So yeah, basically I'm just mad that Conrad has a normal human response to grief and gets shit on and has bad communication claims thrown at him, which he can be bad at it sometimes, but not necessarily every single time like people think. But Jeremiah does go through the same thing. Yes, he does go through grief, but what he does is far beyond what anything else Conrad does. He's out here at fucking Manipulation Station, and his behavior is shown as okay. And I just find this all really interesting because Belly had Conrad up on a pedestal for the majority of their lives, but now Jeremiah has clearly taken that place on the pedestal, because I don't think she thinks, right now at least, that Jeremiah can do anything wrong. Because that's how he's always been portrayed, how he's always shown. Him and his little golden retriever energy. That's such bullshit. She literally says, he's always there when I need him. No, he's actually not, Belly, but I understand you're in your Delulu era, okay? Basically, I just want this little man baby exposed the way Conrad is. And, like, the more I think about it, the more I don't think he ever will be. Because even when he cheats, he and Belly don't really end on terrible circumstances. Like, he just finally realizes that, you know, she's gonna love Conrad more. It wasn't even Belly's decision to not get married. But I just really, really wish for once that Jeremiah's behavior is exposed for what it fucking is. And I just wonder if Belly knew everything that Jeremiah had done, if anything would change. Not that I'm saying she would pick Conrad, because right now at this point in time, I don't really think they need to be together, because she has to grow up a lot, and he needs to learn to communicate in a more timely manner. But I just really wonder what would change if she knew what Jeremiah was really like. If it was pointed out to her that his behavior, not only towards his brother, but to her, was pretty awful. Anyway, this video ended up so much longer than I intended, and it didn't even necessarily go in the direction I intended it to go, but I just got a little heated there for a minute. Just tell me your thoughts if you have any around this subject. I'm not gonna go over the cheating stuff again. I've talked about that on my page several times, and yeah, I think he cheated. You know, if he didn't, why did he feel that guilty? And I am mindful about the way the characters feel. You know, maybe I would feel more sorry for Jeremiah. You know, maybe I would give him more leeway if he didn't weaponize his feelings all the fucking time. You know, maybe if he wasn't constantly victimizing himself while taking absolutely no responsibility for shit he's done. I don't really have to make him a villain when he's doing it himself. And I don't try to pacify Conrad. I just know that Conrad actually faces consequences and takes responsibility and apologizes. He has trouble with his feelings and tries not to put it on other people. I just like to emphasize his normal human responses. Okay, I've explained this in so many of my videos, but I'll do it again. First of all, what Conrad did was wrong. Yeah, it was. He should have told the full truth. He should have. But that's for Belly to decide if she wants to be upset or not. And the thing she was upset about was not fighting harder for their relationship. Meanwhile, Jeremiah literally makes Belly feel like shit about her past with Conrad. When, hot take, she didn't do anything wrong when she kissed Conrad. She and Jeremiah were not in a relationship. Not to mention, Jeremiah fully knew how both Conrad and Belly felt about each other when he started something with Belly. He just thought since he got to her first, he had some claim over her now. But no, Belly literally feels like she has to change her entire behavior around Jeremiah to not make him feel bad. His insecurities are his own problem.